Never try to fall asleep by forcing yourself. It doesn't work. But here's something that does: listening to the soft rhythm of simple facts about the one thing your body loves more than anything else: water. Before we drift into tonight's list, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next sleep story that your brain will quietly thank you for. Tonight, we're going to sink into 100 slow, simple, sleepy facts about water. Nothing fast, nothing loud, just calm science that rolls over your mind like gentle waves. And the more you listen, the more you'll notice your body soften, your breathing slow down, and your thoughts lose their sharp edges. We're keeping an open loop tonight, because the more you learn about water, the stranger, deeper, and more relaxing it becomes. Some of these facts might even change how you see your own body by the end. Here's the first thing to settle into. Your body is mostly water. Around 60% of you is water. It's like carrying a quiet ocean inside your skin. And your brain? It's almost 75% water, which means every thought, every dream, every memory floating around right now is basically held in a tiny personal sea. Water is old, really old. Most of the water you drink today has been here for billions of years. The same water dinosaurs drank, the same water ancient oceans held, the same water trapped inside icy comets that once crashed into Earth. You're literally sipping ancient history every day without thinking about it. And here is a strange one. Water is the only natural substance that exists on Earth in all three states: solid, liquid, and gas at the same time. Ice, liquid water, and vapor can all appear together, like during a cold morning when frost rests on wet grass as mist rises above it. It's like water shows off a little, reminding us how flexible it can be. Water doesn't just carry life, it shapes everything. It smooths stones, carves mountains, builds rivers, and breaks through anything if you give it enough time. Soft things can be powerful. There's a quiet lesson in that. Now here's something your brain will love. Water has a high specific heat. That's a fancy way of saying it takes a lot of energy to heat it up. This is why the ocean feels cold even on a hot day. And it's why the Earth doesn't swing wildly between boiling and freezing. Water holds the world steady, almost like a giant global blanket. But not everything about water is gentle. It can be weird, too. For example, ice floats. Most solids sink in their own liquid form, but ice is different. When water freezes, it expands, becoming lighter, so it floats on top. This is the thing that keeps lakes alive in winter. If ice sank, everything underneath would freeze solid. Life on Earth might not exist the way we know it. Floating ice is one of those strange little quirks that makes nature possible. Here's another sleepy thought. A single drop of water can hold millions of tiny molecules. And each molecule is shaped like Mickey Mouse, 2 little hydrogen ears and 1 oxygen head. And even though these molecules are tiny, they grab onto each other like they're holding hands. That's why water forms droplets, why it climbs up roots into trees, and why it can stretch like a soft bead before it falls. Speaking of trees, water can climb taller than the biggest building in your city. It travels from the soil, up the roots, through the trunk, all the way to the leaves, drop by drop, pulled upward by something called capillary action. Imagine climbing a giant tree using nothing but sticky fingers. That's what water does every second of every day. Water also has memory in a way, not in the magical sense some people claim, but in a physical sense. When water flows around stones, through pipes, or falls in raindrops, it keeps a swirling motion that doesn't vanish instantly. It holds onto patterns for a while before they fade. Little leftover rhythms silently traveling inside it. And the water inside your body is always on the move too. It flows through your cells, carries nutrients, washes away waste, and acts like a natural shock absorber for your brain. Think of it like the world's most gentle security system. Now, here's where things get interesting. Not all water on Earth is drinkable. If you took all the water on the planet and put it in one giant ball, only about 1% would be fresh water. And only a tiny part of that is easy for humans to access. The rest is locked away in glaciers, deep underground, or floating in the air. That means every glass of water you drink is a little miracle of availability. But let's go deeper, because water doesn't just stay here. Earth once had no oceans. Scientists think a huge amount of our water came from icy comets that crashed into the planet billions of years ago. Imagine that, oceans delivered from space. The waves you hear at the beach might be the echoes of ancient cosmic deliveries. Here's a soft, dreamy thought. When you breathe out, you release water into the air. Every breath is a tiny cloud. And when you sleep, the air around you fills with a slow, invisible mist made by your own body. You're surrounded by your own little weather system while you rest. Another fact, water is sticky. Not the messy kind of sticky, but the gentle kind. Water loves to cling to itself and to almost everything else. This is why a glass of water forms a curved surface at the top, called a meniscus. Water crawls up the edges like it's trying to escape, even though it can't. Here's something peaceful to picture. Somewhere on Earth right now, a snowflake is forming. And no two snowflakes are exactly the same. Each one forms around a tiny particle, dust, pollen, or even a microscopic bit of meteorite. Then the cold shapes it into a pattern that will never repeat. Water is nature's slow, silent artist. We're only getting started, but let us introduce a gentle challenge. A little puzzle for the brain that will unravel slowly as you listen. If water is so simple, just 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen, then why does it behave in so many strange, impossible ways? Why does it bend light, climb trees, expand when freezing, hold heat, shape worlds, and make life possible? How can something so simple be so complicated? Hold on to that question, because the deeper we go, the weirder water becomes. And now, let's keep drifting. Let's drift a little deeper into the quiet world of water. You don't have to focus hard. Just let each fact pass over you like a soft wave, touching your mind and then fading into the background. There's something comforting about how water never stops moving. Even when it looks still, the molecules inside are buzzing, bumping, and dancing around each other. A cup of water is like a tiny city of busy people, except nobody is in a rush and nobody ever complains. They just move, slowly, calmly, endlessly. Water can dissolve more things than any other liquid on Earth. That's why it's called the universal solvent. Salt, sugar, minerals, even the air you breathe can dissolve into water. If you ever wondered why ocean water tastes like old secrets, it's because it's holding a little bit of everything that has ever touched it. And speaking of oceans, the ocean covers more than 70% of the Earth, yet we've barely explored it. More than 80% of the ocean floor is still unknown. There are places so deep, so dark, and so filled with crushing pressure that not even light can reach them. But water goes there anyway. Water doesn't fear anything. It fills every space it finds. Down in those deep areas, the temperature of the water can drop to almost freezing. But strangely, there are also underwater vents that spit out water hotter than boiling. Water can survive extremes that would destroy almost anything else. It adapts. It adjusts. It always finds a way. Now here's something a little mind-bending. Water can cut through rock. Over hundreds or thousands of years, tiny streams carve out giant canyons. A single drop doesn't seem powerful, but millions of drops, working together, can reshape continents. There's something quietly inspiring in that. Slow progress still matters, even if you barely notice it. Let's float into something softer. When you hold a glass of water, you're holding one of the best natural sound absorbers in the world. Water swallows vibrations. It drinks up sound. That's why the world feels muffled when you're underwater. It's like the universe telling you, take a break. Everything can be quiet for a moment. And here is a strange little fact. Hot water freezes faster than cold water under certain conditions. It's called the Mpemba effect. Scientists still don't fully understand why it happens. Just a weird little trick water likes to pull every now and then. The colder it gets, the more mysterious water becomes. There's also water that is older than Earth itself. Some of the water molecules drifting around right now formed in space, before the Earth even existed. You could drink a glass of water tomorrow that's older than the sun. Imagine that. Something older than our entire planet running through your veins. Let's picture something calming. Think about a quiet lake on a windless day. When the surface is smooth, it becomes a perfect mirror. That mirror works because water's molecules line up in a very tight, orderly way, reflecting light like a soft glass sheet. But the moment a tiny breeze comes, the mirror wrinkles. Not because it breaks, but because water responds to the world instantly, even to the gentlest touch. And yes, water really does respond to touch. If you swirl your finger in a bowl of water, every molecule feels the motion. Not immediately, but soon enough, the entire bowl flows with your movement. That's how ripples happen. A single small action becomes a bigger pattern, It's a simple reminder that even small things matter. Here's something you might not know. Water is slightly blue. Not clear, not colorless. If you have a deep enough pool of pure water, it shows a soft blue shade. Oceans are blue partly because of this, and partly because water absorbs red light. So the blue you see is real. It's the color of water itself. Let's drift to rain for a moment. A raindrop doesn't fall in a teardrop shape. It starts round, like a tiny ball. As it falls, air pressure flattens the bottom, making it look more like a little hamburger bun than the classic teardrop shape we draw. When rain hits your skin, each drop has traveled a long, delicate journey from cloud to ground, reshaping itself all the way down. Clouds are just collections of tiny water droplets or ice crystals floating together. A big fluffy cloud can weigh more than 1,000 tons, but it stays in the air because the droplets are so tiny and spaced out that gravity doesn't pull them down right away. So when you look at the sky and see a big cloud drifting, you're actually watching a giant floating lake. Let's go somewhere cooler, snow. Snowflakes look soft, but they form in places colder than your freezer. Each one starts as a tiny bit of dust or pollen. Then, water vapor sticks to it and grows into a pattern. The weird thing is, snowflakes only grow into their beautiful shapes because of the temperature and humidity around them. Change the air even a little, and the whole design changes. So every snowflake is like a frozen story shaped by the weather. Let's drop into something deeper. Water in your body doesn't stay in one place. It moves constantly through your blood, your cells, your brain. When you're resting, water helps your muscles relax and your heart slow down. When you're sleeping, your brain washes itself with a special flow of water-like fluid. It's like your mind gets a bath every night to clean out old thoughts and make space for new ones. You might notice your breathing getting slower as you listen. That's normal. Water facts have this strange calming effect. Even scientists can't explain why learning about simple things makes the brain settle down, but it does. Here's something soft and simple. There's water inside the earth, deep underground, locked in rocks, hiding in tiny cracks, trapped in minerals. Some of this water has been there for hundreds of millions of years without ever touching the surface. Quiet, still, waiting. And there's also water on the moon, frozen in craters that never see sunlight. Water on Mars too, buried under polar ice caps. Even on some moons around Jupiter and Saturn, like Europa and Enceladus, there are oceans hidden under huge sheets of ice. Entire worlds filled with water, kept warm by the planets they orbit. If life exists out there, it might be swimming in those dark oceans right now. Before we drift into the next wave of facts, here's a soft challenge for your mind. If water can be everywhere, inside planets, floating in space, frozen in craters, running through your veins, then what exactly is water supposed to be? A simple liquid? A building block of life? A cosmic traveler? Or something that connects everything without us noticing? Hold that thought. Let it float. No pressure to solve it. Let's keep drifting. Water has a way of pulling you in gently, like it knows the pace you need. You don't have to think hard. You don't even have to remember everything. Just let the facts float by, soft and quiet. Here's something peaceful. Water makes up most of every living thing you've ever seen. Trees, animals, insects, your pets, every leaf you've touched, they're all filled with water. When you look at a tree, half of what you see is water moving upward, tiny drop by tiny drop. Even a cactus, hiding in the desert, holds water deep inside like a secret treasure chest. Plants actually pull water up against gravity. They never stop drinking. From soil to root, through tiny tubes, all the way to the leaves. It's slow, steady teamwork between water molecules. They hold hands, pulling each other up like a long chain of friends climbing a hill. Water is patient. It never complains, never panics. It just goes where it's allowed to go. And here's something strange. The amount of water on Earth never really changes. It cycles. The same water that once sat in a glacier may now be swirling in your glass. The same water that rained on ancient forests might fall on you tomorrow. Nothing is truly new. It's just traveling. Imagine a raindrop landing in the ocean. Now picture it evaporating, rising into the sky, joining a cloud, falling again as rain far away, sliding into a river. Passing through soil, being absorbed by a tree, released again as vapor, drifting through the air, falling again somewhere else. Water lives a long, wandering life. Another quiet fact, 1 gallon of water weighs about 8.3 pounds. But in the ocean, you feel lighter because salt water gives your body extra lift. That's why floating in the sea feels easier, calmer, almost freeing. The ocean is literally lifting you up. And while we're here, oceans aren't all the same. The Pacific is the biggest, the Atlantic has the strongest currents, and the Indian Ocean is the warmest. But they all connect, forming one giant global ocean that wraps around the planet like a blue heartbeat. Let's dip into a softer place, rainfall. The smell you notice just before it rains comes from oils released by plants and bacteria in the soil. When raindrops hit the ground, they send tiny particles of these oils into the air. That smell, called petrichor, signals fresh beginnings. Even the earth sighs a little when rain comes. Here's another calming thought. Water moves differently depending on temperature. Cold water is heavier, so it sinks. Warm water is lighter, so it rises. Oceans use this to create huge, deep currents that flow like underwater rivers. These slow-moving streams carry heat around the world, keeping climate stable. If these currents ever stopped, the whole planet would feel it. Water protects us without us even noticing. And surprisingly, water can absorb a huge amount of energy before changing temperature. This is why your body stays cooler when you sweat. The water on your skin uses heat from your body to evaporate. It's like your own built-in cooling system. Now here's a simple little thought. You can hear water before you see it. Whether it's rain, a stream, waves, or a dripping faucet, water always announces itself. That soft sound is one of the oldest sounds on Earth. Long before human voices, long before music, water was making its own rhythm. Maybe that's why it relaxes us so deeply. The brain recognizes the sound like an old memory. Speaking of old memories, ice cores, long cylinders drilled from glaciers, hold bubbles of ancient air trapped for hundreds of thousands of years. Scientists use them to understand what the atmosphere used to be like. Water literally saves snapshots of Earth's past. And water doesn't just store memories, it carries stories. Every river has a history. Every lake holds secrets. Every drop falling on your skin tonight has traveled longer than you can imagine. Let's talk about something a little strange. Water expands when it freezes. Most things shrink as they get colder, but not water. It spreads out, creating pressure strong enough to crack rocks. This is why cliffs crumble slowly over time. Frozen water sneaks into small cracks, expands, and breaks the rock apart. Even mountains bow to water eventually. Now imagine Earth without water. Nothing green, no clouds, no rivers, no animals, no people, just empty land and dust. Water doesn't just support life, it defines it. Another peaceful fact. Humans can live a month without food, but only a few days without water. It's not optional. It's the core ingredient of being alive. And here's something you might not expect. You lose water when you breathe. Every breath carries moisture out of your body. You even lose water while you sleep. That's one reason you wake up thirsty. Now let's drift into something a little magical. The ocean glows. Not everywhere, but in some places, tiny organisms called bioluminescent plankton make the waves light up like blue sparks. When the water moves, they shimmer. People who've seen it describe it like walking through stars. Water becomes light itself. Let's look at rivers now. Rivers never really travel straight. They curve and bend because water looks for the easiest path. The inside of a curve has slower water, the outside has faster water. Over time, the river erodes the fast side and deposits soil on the slow side. The curves grow bigger, rivers become wider, and sometimes they cut through the curve entirely, leaving behind lakes shaped like horseshoes. Water draws its own map of the world. And here is something that feels calming to think about. Almost all the water on Earth is salt water. Fresh water, the kind we drink, is rare, precious, and even though there's so little of it, nature manages to cycle it perfectly so that plants, animals, and people can survive. Let's drift into a simple picture. Imagine standing at the edge of a lake at night. The surface looks dark, but when the moon hits it, the water turns silver. That shine is called specular reflection. Water becomes a giant mirror for the moon, stretching across the lake like a glowing path. Now here's a strange but true thing. Water boils faster on a mountain. The higher you go, the lower the air pressure, so water boils at a lower temperature. So your tea might boil quicker on a mountain, but it won't be as hot. Water listens to pressure more than heat. Before we move to the next section, here's another quiet question to keep in your mind. If water can shape land, carve rock, carry heat, hold life, and travel the universe, then why does it feel so calm to us? Why does learning about it soften us inside? Maybe it's because we're made of it. Maybe it's because every fact about water is also secretly a fact about us. And as the droplet settles into the quiet lake, something interesting happens. It doesn't just disappear into the water around it. It sends a soft ripple, a slow, spreading circle that reaches farther than you expect. A tiny touch creating a wide, gentle response. Water is always doing this, responding, adjusting, balancing without anyone noticing. It's like it's whispering, "Nothing you do is too small to matter." It's funny, because water seems simple, but it's really not. For example, if you take the very same droplet and cool it down, then cool it again, something strange starts to happen. Most things shrink when they get cold, but water is that one stubborn friend who says, "No, I'm not doing that." When water freezes, it expands. That's why frozen pipes burst and why ice floats. And honestly, thank goodness it does. If ice didn't float, lakes would freeze from the bottom up, trapping everything inside. Life on Earth might have stopped before it even began. But water likes to bend rules. It also has this thing called surface tension, basically, the water's skin. It is so strong that tiny insects like water striders can walk on it like they taking a calm evening stroll. They don't sink. They don't break the surface. They just glide. If you could shrink yourself down to the size of a grain of rice, that surface would feel like a trampoline you could bounce on forever. And deeper in the droplet's journey, as night drapes itself over the world, the air cools and the forest grows quiet. That same droplet rises from the lake as a bit of mist, joining millions of others. Together, they drift into the sky, forming a cloud that moves like a soft, sleepy blanket. Clouds look light and fluffy, but they're heavy, incredibly heavy. A small cloud can weigh more than 100 elephants. Yet it still floats because the air beneath it holds it up gently, almost like hands lifting a pillow. The droplet doesn't mind. Being weightless feels peaceful. Inside the cloud, water molecules gather and separate like people at a slow, dreamy dance. Sometimes they cling together long enough to become big, heavy drops. Sometimes they drift apart and wait. Everything is unhurried. Everything is soft. And in this quiet cloud, something fascinating unfolds. Water begins organizing itself into shapes, hexagons, branches, delicate patterns. Snowflakes. Every snowflake has 6 sides, but none look exactly the same. Your droplet might help form one. Maybe it becomes the tip of a tiny crystalline branch, floating silently downward. Maybe it lands on a sleeping field, adding the faintest sparkle to the early morning light. Or maybe the droplet stays in the cloud and travels farther. It could ride the wind across mountains, oceans, cities. It might drift for days without falling, just floating, mixing, waiting for the perfect moment to descend. And while it's up there, it plays a huge role in shaping the weather. Clouds help keep Earth warm at night and cool during the day. They reflect sunlight. They trap heat. They balance the atmosphere like a giant thermostat. But water doesn't only shape the sky. It shapes the land, too. Imagine the droplet finally falling onto a mountain. At first, it slips over smooth stone, carving the tiniest line as it moves. One droplet seems powerless, but multiply that by trillions over thousands of years, and that tiny line becomes a river. That river becomes a valley, and that valley becomes a landscape carved gently by water's patience. Water never hurries, but it never stops. It smooths rocks into pebbles, pebbles into sand, sand into soft, perfect grains you can hold in your palm. And if you listen closely, rivers tell stories. Long stories about mountains collapsing, forests growing, oceans rising and falling like deep, slow breaths. Water remembers everything it touches. It's inside plants, helping them stand tall. It's inside animals, helping their hearts push life through their entire bodies. It's inside you, making up more than half of who you are. Your thoughts, your heartbeat, your energy, all of it depends on water moving quietly, repeating its ancient rhythm. And maybe the droplet ends up inside a seed buried in the soil. Seeds wait for water the way tired eyes wait for sleep. When water reaches them, they unlock. They stretch. They grow. A single droplet can wake a plant from its long rest and begin an entire forest. Even underground, water keeps working. Tiny spaces between grains of dirt become tunnels for it to move through. If you could shrink yourself and follow it, it would feel like walking through an endless, glowing maze. Water trickles into roots, into stones, into secret cracks in the earth. It creates caves, dissolves minerals, carries nutrients to places they could never reach alone. And deep beneath your feet, water forms huge, hidden rivers, aquifers, storing life for years, decades, sometimes centuries. When rain doesn't fall, those underground reservoirs become Earth's quiet savings account. But the droplet's journey isn't done. Much later, maybe it rises again as vapor, floating back into the air. Maybe it becomes rain in a city at night, landing softly on rooftops and glowing under streetlights like tiny sparkles. Rain in the city sounds different, gentle but constant, tapping lightly on windows, washing dust away, helping plants push through cracks in the sidewalk. Wherever water goes, it leaves something better behind. Maybe your droplet ends up in the ocean again, but this time, it drifts near a coral reef. Reefs are like underwater cities, filled with millions of tiny creatures building bright, living towers. Water moves nutrients around, feeding everything from the smallest plankton to giant sea turtles drifting by like slow, ancient travelers. And if you look deeper, much deeper, you'll find something surprising. In the darkest parts of the ocean, far below the reach of sunlight, there are underwater hot springs called hydrothermal vents. They shoot out water so hot it could melt metal, yet around them, life thrives. Scientists believe that maybe, just maybe, life on Earth began in places like these. In water, in the deep, in darkness, with simple molecules bumping into each other until one day they became something more, something alive. And your droplet? It could be carrying tiny nutrients that feed the organisms that live there, continuing a chain that began billions of years ago. Water connects everything: oceans, rivers, clouds, creatures, you. It's always moving, always changing, always returning in a cycle that has been repeating since before humans existed. Every cup of water you drink has been inside ancient oceans, inside dinosaurs, inside glaciers, inside storms. Nothing about it is brand new. Everything about it is timeless. And now, as the droplet drifts gently through another night, maybe across a quiet sea, maybe through a cool breeze, you can almost imagine it whispering the same soft message it has repeated for ages. I'm still here. I'm still moving. And you're made of me. And somehow, that feels comforting. As the night deepens, the droplet drifts through cool air, letting the wind guide it like a gentle hand. The world below softens. Colors fade into dark blues. Sounds become quieter, like everything is slowly drifting into its own sleep. Even the trees seem to sway more slowly, as if they're dreaming too. The droplet doesn't rush. It has all the time in the world. Somewhere in the quiet distance, water gathers in the curve of a river bend. Rivers never sleep. They keep moving even in the dark, sliding over stones with a soft whisper. The droplet joins them, slipping into the slow current. And suddenly, it becomes part of a huge, connected highway of water stretching farther than any road humans have ever made. But rivers have moods. Sometimes they move fast, jumping over rocks like excited children. Other times they move slow, so slow they almost seem still. Tonight, the river is calm. It carries the droplet gently, showing it reflections of the moon. The moonlight dances on the water's surface, turning ripples into tiny waves of silver. It almost looks like the water is breathing. Every rise, every fall, every soft push of the current, all of it feels like the planet's pulse, steady and quiet. If the Earth had a heartbeat, it might sound like this river. Eventually, the river widens. The droplet feels itself being pulled along with thousands of others, like a crowd walking toward the same open door. And that door is the ocean. The sea at night is different. The surface looks calm, but underneath, everything is alive. Tiny glowing organisms drift in the dark, lighting up when stirred, soft blues, faint greens. If the droplet brushes by them, they glow for a moment, like someone flicked on a tiny underwater light. It's called bioluminescence, and it's one of the ocean's quiet wonders. Imagine this. Every time a wave rolls, hundreds of these little lights blink on and off, creating a glowing outline around the water. It's like the ocean is tracing its own shapes in the dark. The droplet moves deeper. Down here, sunlight can't reach, but life still thrives. Strange creatures with transparent bodies float like living glass sculptures. Some have long threads trailing behind them, shimmering like silk ribbons. Others flash bright colors to talk to each other without making sound. And all of them depend on water carrying food, oxygen, and warmth through the deep. Even in darkness, water is always working, always delivering something important to someone who needs it. But the droplet doesn't stay deep for long. A warm current lifts it upward like an elevator. Warm currents and cold currents move through the ocean like giant roads, traveling huge distances. They control weather, temperature, and sometimes even climates for entire countries. For example, one large warm current near the Atlantic keeps some places from getting extremely cold even in winter. Water shapes the world in ways most people never notice. When the droplet rises back to the surface, something beautiful is happening. The sun is starting to rise in the far distance. The first rays of light spread across the horizon like gentle brushstrokes. The sea glows with soft oranges and golds. And for a moment, everything slows. You can almost imagine the ocean stretching, waking up, getting ready for another day of constant, steady motion. As the sun warms the surface, the droplet begins to evaporate again. It becomes lighter, softer, until it lifts into the sky as vapor. It joins a growing cloud floating peacefully above the water. This time, the cloud moves toward land, pushed by slow, steady wind. The air is warm, the sky is wide, and the world below looks quiet. Tiny houses, small roads, hills covered with green. The droplet doesn't know where it will fall next. Maybe on a quiet field where a farmer needs rain. Maybe onto a rooftop where a child listens to its soft tapping. Maybe into a river that leads far away. Or maybe it will drift for hours, just enjoying the silence. Clouds are like floating worlds. Inside them, everything is soft. Soft edges, soft movement, soft sounds. Water vapor bumps into water vapor, forming tiny droplets that gather together, letting the cloud grow thicker and heavier. And when the cloud becomes too heavy to hold itself up, rain begins. The droplet falls again, slowly at first, then faster. But falling doesn't feel scary. It feels freeing, like letting go, like surrendering to gravity's gentle pull. As it falls through warm air, the droplet catches sunlight, splitting it into colors: faint reds, soft greens, tiny sparks of violet. Every raindrop has the power to create a rainbow, even if no one is there to see it. When it reaches the ground this time, it lands on a tree leaf. The leaf drinks in the droplet almost instantly, pulling it through tiny veins. Inside the leaf, the droplet joins a process older than human history: photosynthesis. The leaf uses sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water to create food for the tree. In return, it releases oxygen into the air, the very oxygen you breathe. A single droplet helped make that breath possible. It's strange, isn't it? How something so small becomes part of something so important. Inside the tree, the droplet moves upward, climbing through thin tubes all the way to the tallest branches. Trees lift water higher than the roofs of most buildings, using nothing but sunlight and a quiet pull called transpiration. Eventually, the droplet reaches a leaf near the very top of the tree. The view up here is peaceful. The world looks softer, almost sleepy. And from the leaf's surface, warmed by the afternoon sun, the droplet evaporates again. Another cycle, another transformation, another chapter of its endless journey. And the droplet doesn't mind. Every change brings something new. Every form has a purpose. Whether it's part of a river, a cloud, a plant, an animal, or the ocean, it's always helping something live, grow, cool down, stay warm, or simply exist. That's the quiet power of water. The afternoon light softens as the sun drifts lower in the sky. Shadows grow longer, colors warm, and the droplet, rising once again into the air as invisible vapor, feels the world settling into a slower rhythm. The day begins to unwind, like someone gently loosening the knots of time. As it rises, the droplet joins other bits of vapor drifting upward from leaves, lakes, soil, and even the breath of animals resting in the shade. All of it blends together in the air, forming a quiet, invisible migration toward the open sky. Up here, above the trees and rooftops, the air grows cooler. The droplet meets colder air and condenses again, becoming part of a new cloud. This cloud is lighter, thinner, and drifts high above the world like a slow-moving blanket. Clouds like this are called cirrus clouds, long, thin shapes that stretch across the sky like gentle brushstrokes. Sometimes they look almost like feathers. They don't bring heavy rain, just soft weather and soft light. Inside the cloud, every droplet floats peacefully. They bump into each other with tiny taps, barely making a sound. It almost feels like the droplet is surrounded by a quiet crowd where everyone whispers. The wind carries the cloud over a wide valley. Down below, there are hills covered in grass and tiny streams that weave like silver threads through the landscape. Water everywhere, flowing, pooling, rising, falling, but never staying still. It's always moving, always searching for its next purpose. A small part of the cloud thickens. More droplets gather. Air pressure shifts very slightly. And then, without drama or noise, the cloud begins to release a light mist. Not rain, just a soft sprinkle that feels more like breathing than falling. The droplet falls again. This time, it lands on a quiet field where the grass is tall and sways like a slow tide. Each blade holds a pearl of water at its tip, tiny and shining. The droplet joins them, sliding gently down the curve of the blade, gathering a bit more water along the way. It reaches the soil, sinking into the ground. Underground, everything feels different. It's cooler, darker, safer. Water moves gently through tiny spaces between grains of sand and bits of rock. This hidden world is called groundwater, and it's one of the most important water systems on Earth. Many people never see it, but groundwater feeds wells, springs, and even lakes during dry seasons. Plants rely on it when rain is scarce. Animals dig to find it. And deep below, even the earth itself holds it carefully, storing it for years or decades, sometimes even centuries. The droplet moves through this underground maze slowly, taking days to travel even a short distance. But there's no hurry here. Time moves differently in the soil. Everything is patient. Everything takes the path that nature sets. It eventually finds a small underground stream. These streams run quietly, hidden beneath the surface, flowing through narrow tunnels carved by water over thousands of years. The droplet joins the stream, slipping into a gentle current that leads it toward a small cave. Inside the cave, the air is still and cool. Water drips from the ceiling in slow, steady beats, like nature's own ticking clock. Each drop falls with a tiny echo that fills the cave with soft rhythm. Some of those drips leave behind small traces of minerals, slowly building beautiful structures called stalactites and stalagmites. These formations grow so slowly that a piece the size of your finger can take hundreds of years to form. The droplet wonders how many others came before it, and how many will come after. Eventually, the underground stream reaches an opening where it rises back to the surface. It becomes a small spring. Springs are places where groundwater returns to daylight, clear and cold. The droplet surfaces with the rest of the spring water, joining a tiny stream that trickles between rocks. Sunlight touches it gently, warming it. In this stream, the droplet begins another journey, slipping through curves, sliding over smooth stones, and joining hundreds more droplets headed toward a larger river. As it glides forward, it passes by plants with roots reaching into the stream's edge. Some roots drink directly from the moving water. Others filter it slowly through the soil. Water climbs through them, feeding their stems and leaves. The droplet continues. It joins a larger river again. The river curls like a sleeping snake through the land, slow and calm. Birds rest on branches above it. Fish swim lazily below. It feels like everything in the river has agreed to take life at a gentle pace. As the sun begins to slide behind distant hills, the sky turns shades of purple and gold. The river reflects these colors, turning the water into a long ribbon of glowing light. The droplet drifts right through it, becoming part of this quiet beauty. Soon, night returns. Stars appear one by one, soft and steady. Their reflections shimmer on the river's surface, creating a second sky beneath the droplet's journey. Somewhere far off, the gentle sound of water meeting ocean sand can be heard. The river is nearing its end again, ready to return the droplet to the sea. And as the droplet approaches the shore, it feels something familiar, the steady pull of tides, guided by the moon's gentle gravity. The moon lifts and lowers the ocean every day without ever making a sound. The droplet joins the ocean once more, completing another cycle, yet starting another story. There is no ending in the life of water. Only transformations. Only movement. Only purpose. Night settles fully over the ocean now. The world above becomes quiet, and the world below grows darker. But darkness doesn't mean emptiness. In the ocean, darkness just means mystery. The droplet floats near the surface, surrounded by tiny waves that rise and fall like calm breathing. The stars above shimmer in the ripples, breaking into little pieces of silver light every time the water moves. It almost looks like the sky has melted into the sea. Far beneath the droplet, deeper waters shift slowly. Large ocean currents move like huge underwater rivers, carrying warm water north and cold water south. These currents help decide weather, storms, temperatures, and even how warm the wind feels in different places across the world. It's strange how one droplet, drifting silently, can be part of something so big. The ocean keeps moving, but it isn't loud. Some waves whisper, some waves sigh, some waves barely make a sound at all, like they're trying not to disturb anyone. Eventually, the droplet is pulled into a gentle swirl, almost like a slow-motion whirlpool, but soft and wide. These swirls are called gyres, and they help move water across huge distances. They circle slowly, always turning, always guiding water along invisible paths. Inside this calm rotation, the droplet feels almost weightless. It drifts in circles, enjoying the quiet. Time doesn't matter here. The world feels slowed down, like someone turned the whole planet to low volume. Above the water, thin clouds drift across the sky. They don't block the stars, they simply soften them, turning bright points into gentle glows. And underneath those clouds, the ocean reflects everything back, so it looks like the droplet is floating in a bowl of dim light. Hours pass like minutes. Then, a soft morning light begins to touch the horizon again. The sky slowly brightens from deep blue to pale gray to soft pink. The ocean responds by shimmering, each wave catching a little more color until the whole surface looks like a giant sheet of silk. The sun warms the droplet gently, and once again, it begins to evaporate. It rises into the air, lighter and lighter, drifting up with the warmth. Below, the ocean becomes smaller, turning into shades of blue and turquoise. Above, the air grows cooler again. The droplet joins a new cloud, this one thicker, fluffier, shaped like soft cotton. Clouds like this feel different inside. They're brighter, warmer, full of millions of tiny droplets sharing the same gentle space. Inside the cloud, the droplet hears faint rumbles far away. Thunder, but distant and slow, like a giant turning over in its sleep. Lightning flashes deep in the cloud's heart, but it never reaches the droplet's side. It just adds soft glows to the cloud's underside, turning it into a warm lantern in the sky. Clouds like this can travel long distances. Wind pushes them across oceans, over forests, above mountains. And inside, droplets like this one might travel hundreds of kilometers without ever touching the ground. The cloud drifts inland, carrying the droplet across rolling hills covered in early morning mist. The mist curls around trees and climbs up slopes like tiny, curious ghosts. On the tops of the hills, the air is cooler, and the droplet feels everything getting heavier inside the cloud. More droplets gather, more weight builds. The cloud becomes thicker, darker underneath. It begins to rain again. The droplet falls, but the rain this time is soft, very soft, like a whisper landing on the earth. It falls onto a calm lake surrounded by tall trees. The surface of the lake ripples gently where the drop lands. The ripple spreads outward in perfect circles, moving wider and wider until it fades into the stillness. The droplet merges into the lake. Inside the lake, everything moves more slowly than in rivers or oceans. The water is cool and steady. Fish glide lazily. Insects skate across the surface like tiny dancers. The lake has its own world, its own quiet heartbeat. Some lakes even hold water that is thousands of years old, hidden deep at the bottom where sunlight never reaches. But the droplet stays near the warm top layer, drifting peacefully across the lake with the wind. At one edge of the lake, tall reeds sway in the breeze. Birds rest on them. Their reflections move with the water's soft waves. Sometimes a fish jumps, breaking the surface with a quick splash. Then everything goes quiet again. The droplet drifts toward a stream that flows out of the lake. It slips into the gentle current and begins another slow journey through small waterfalls and shallow pools. One pool is so clear that the droplet can see pebbles at the bottom, smooth, colorful, worn down by years of water brushing against them. Water shapes stone the same way time shapes memories, slowly, quietly, invisibly. As the droplet moves forward, it passes through a forest where the trees arch overhead like a natural roof. Sunlight filters through their leaves in tiny beams that dance on the water. Every beam looks like a golden path leading somewhere peaceful. The droplet follows the stream until it reaches a place where the roots of the trees stretch into the water. Tree roots act like tiny water straws, pulling water from the stream to help the tree breathe, grow, and stay alive. The droplet enters one of these roots, joining millions of other droplets climbing upward. Inside the tree, everything feels calm and steady. Water moves slowly through thin tubes, helping the tree carry nutrients to its branches and leaves. Trees depend on water the same way people depend on air, quietly, constantly. Eventually, the droplet reaches a leaf at the very top of the tree. It sits inside the leaf for a moment, letting sunlight warm it. Then, with warmth building, the droplet evaporates again. It rises into the sky for the next chapter. The droplet rises once again, drifting away from the leaf like a tiny sigh disappearing into the sky. Up here, the world feels bigger, but also quieter. The wind lifts it gently, carrying it higher until the trees below look like soft green bumps on a blanket. Clouds gather again around the droplet, but this cloud is light and young, almost transparent. Sunlight slips through it easily, turning everything inside into a glowing haze. The droplet floats peacefully, almost like it's suspended in warm air. As the cloud drifts, it passes over farmland where neat lines of crops stretch across the land like patterns on a quilt. The plants rely on water every day, not too much, not too little, just enough to keep their leaves open and their roots strong. Sometimes the droplet wonders how many lives depend on water. The answer is simple, really, all of them. Everything living, breathing, growing, walking, swimming, flying, all of it needs water. Even the tiniest creatures, tiny microbes in the soil, depend on it. They break down old leaves, old roots, old everything, turning it into nutrients that help new plants grow. And those plants feed animals, and animals feed other animals. It all connects, quietly and beautifully. But today, the cloud isn't ready to rain yet. Instead, the wind pushes it farther, toward a wide, open plain where dust rises in small spirals. The plain looks dry, cracked in places, thirsty for even a little water. Yet the droplet can't fall here. Not now. Not yet. The air is too warm, too light, and the cloud too thin to release rain. Sometimes water travels far before it can finally help the land again. As the cloud drifts over the dry plain, the droplet feels the warmth rising from the earth, waves of heat that shimmer like invisible flames. The warm air rises quickly and lifts the cloud higher, where the temperature cools again. The droplet grows heavier. It begins to find more droplets gathering around it, joining together slowly. These tiny gatherings are how raindrops form. A few droplets at first, then more, until the weight becomes too much to keep floating. But something different happens this time. Before the droplet becomes rain, colder air moves in unexpectedly. The temperature shifts just enough to make the droplets freeze into tiny crystals. This cloud begins to form snow. The droplet becomes a snowflake, a perfectly shaped crystal, so delicate it almost feels like breathing could break it. Snowflakes form patterns that never repeat. Each one is made of the same things, water and cold, but shaped by wind, humidity, and tiny temperature changes. It's amazing to think millions of snowflakes fall every day, and no two have ever been exactly the same. The snowflake drifts downward slowly, caught in gentle air currents. Falling snow doesn't usually rush. It dances. It circles. It glides. Below, the world turns white as snow lands on the plain that was dry just hours before. The cracks in the ground fill with soft powder. The land rests. Plants hidden under the soil wait patiently for the snow to melt and seep down to their roots. The snowflake lands quietly, joining a blanket of cold softness. For a long time, it stays frozen. Days pass. Nights pass. The world changes around it. The sun rises and warms the snow, then sets again. Slowly the snow melts. The droplet returns to liquid form and sinks into the soil. This time, the droplet travels deeper than before. It moves past soil, past sand, past layers of tiny stones compressed over centuries. It reaches an underground aquifer, a large area where water is trapped inside layers of rock. Aquifers hold water like giant stone sponges. Some are shallow, some are deep. Some hold water only a few years old. Others hold water that fell as rain thousands of years ago. Inside the aquifer, the droplet slows down even more. It might stay here for a long time, drifting in dark, cool quiet. But eventually, movement in the earth pushes the droplet forward. A tiny shift, a small opening in the rock, a narrow path that leads upward. It rises again, joining other droplets that gather in a place where pressure builds. One morning, the droplet is pushed out of the ground suddenly, not as a calm spring this time, but as part of a geyser bursting upward into the air. The water sprays high, steaming and powerful, before falling back to the earth. The droplet arcs through the sky, warm and light, feeling like it's flying. When it lands, it meets cooler air and becomes vapor once again. Upward it goes, calmly, slowly, like a deep breath being released into the sky. The droplet joins a cloud that drifts over mountains this time, tall ones, with snowy peaks that shine under the sun. Mountain air is crisp and clean. It carries the cloud gently, guiding it along ridges and valleys. Below, rivers start from melting snow, turning into small streams, then wide flows that travel down the mountains into forests and towns. Every river, every lake, every ocean around the world is connected by these tiny droplets moving over and over again. The droplet realizes something simple. Water doesn't just move through the world. It shapes it, softly, patiently, over thousands of years. And in that slow movement, life finds its rhythm. You let your eyes drift toward the soft glow of the moon-sized sphere ahead, a pale world wrapped in mist. It almost looks like it's exhaling, a slow, gentle breath that sends thin trails of vapor drifting into space. And quietly, almost without realizing it, you find yourself matching its rhythm. In and out, like the planet, and you are sharing the same slow heartbeat. That mist is water too, tiny droplets floating so lightly that even the smallest breeze could carry them for miles. It makes you think about clouds back on Earth, how they seem heavy, dark, and full, but a single cloud can weigh as much as hundreds of elephants. And yet they float. They drift without effort. They don't fall apart from the weight they carry. They just move slowly, calmly, held up by nothing more than air. There's something quietly powerful about that. A faint shimmer ripples across the ship's window as the engines adjust to a gentler pace. It feels almost like gliding, like the ship has decided it wants to move the way water moves, smooth, steady, unhurried. The stars ahead stretch like tiny reflections on a calm lake, and you begin to feel your shoulders relax again, even more than before. You think about how water covers about 71% of Earth, and yet we've explored only a tiny part of its deepest places, less than we've explored space. Somewhere down there, in trenches darker than space itself, the pressure is so strong it could crush a submarine. Yet there are creatures living there comfortably. Creatures that glow softly in the dark, creatures with translucent bodies, creatures that drift like living ghosts. It almost makes you wonder what else is possible in places we haven't looked yet. The ship tilts slightly, giving you a view of a thin blue arc glowing around a distant planet. It's an atmosphere, thin, fragile, precious. And inside that atmosphere, somewhere, water is hiding. Maybe frozen, maybe in clouds, maybe flowing quietly in underground channels like veins beneath a surface of stone. And just thinking about that makes your breathing slow even more. The idea that water can hide, can wait patiently for the right moment to reappear, feels comforting in a way you didn't expect. Like nothing is ever truly gone, only resting. A soft vibration passes through the floor. Not loud, not startling, just a gentle hum, like a sleeping whale calling out beneath distant waves. And that sound reminds you of something else. Whales sing through water because sound travels faster there, about 4 times faster than in air. Their voices can travel hundreds, even thousands of miles, farther than any land animal could ever shout. Imagine that, your voice drifting through the ocean for days, maybe weeks, before fading. A sound that refuses to disappear quickly. You let that image settle calmly into your mind. There is something soothing about the idea that the world is full of quiet echoes, echoes that drift through water just like the ship drifts through space now. And as you think about that, another water fact rises gently into your thoughts. Hot water freezes faster than cold water. Scientists still debate the exact reason, but the truth is water doesn't always follow the rules. Sometimes it does the unexpected. Sometimes it moves faster. Sometimes slower. It doesn't worry about being predictable. It just is. Maybe that's another lesson tucked softly inside all these facts. You don't have to make sense all the time. You don't have to follow every rule perfectly. You can just be a work in progress, just like everything else in nature. Beyond the glass, a comet drifts past, a slow, glowing streak with a tail made of dust and frozen water stretching behind it like a shimmering ribbon. Comets are like time capsules. They carry water that formed at the very beginning of the solar system, long before planets cooled, long before oceans existed. Some scientists believe comets might have delivered water to Earth billions of years ago, tiny icy messengers bringing the first drops that would eventually turn into oceans. It's almost poetic, thinking that the water inside every human body, the water inside you, might have arrived on a comet. Your eyelids grow heavier at that thought. Not the kind of heavy that fights to stay awake, but the soft, warm heaviness that feels like your body is slowly sinking into a cloud. Or like you're floating in warm water, carried by invisible hands. Your breathing deepens again, slow like tides, steady like rain hitting a rooftop at night. The world outside the window rotates gently as the ship turns, revealing a wide nebula, an enormous cloud of gas and dust glowing like spilled paint across the darkness. And inside that nebula, water vapor, enough to fill oceans billions of times over. Water drifting in enormous waves through empty space, waiting to become part of future stars, future planets, future storms. You stare at the glowing mist and think, water is the universe's way of leaving breadcrumbs. Little signs that life could exist, or maybe already does. It's strange how peaceful that feels. You shift your gaze to your hands for a moment, realizing that the water inside your body right now is older than your bones, older than your memories, older than your entire species. It has traveled across desert air, through rivers, through plants, through clouds, through oceans, and now sits quietly inside you, doing its job without asking for thanks. You let that warmth settle into your chest. Outside, a small meteor shower begins, tiny streaks of light falling in slow motion. Each one flashes softly, like twinkling underwater reflections. You watch them fade one after another, each one dissolving silently into darkness, like thoughts drifting in and out of your mind. Everything feels quieter now. Your heartbeat, your thoughts, even the space around you seems to soften, turning into a peaceful cocoon of dim blue light and slow drifting stars. And as the ship glides deeper into the galaxy, carrying you gently along, the next chapter of the water story flows quietly into place. And as those soft ripples drift through the cabin, you start to notice how quiet everything around you has become, almost like the ship itself is listening. Maybe it is. Maybe it already knows what you slowly starting to feel. That water isn't just a resource, or a science fact, or something we drink without thinking. It's a kind of memory keeper, a traveler that's older than mountains, older than continents, older than the idea of home. And that's when a thought floats into your mind, gentle and a little strange. Every single drop of water in your body has been somewhere else before. Maybe in a cloud drifting above a rainforest. Maybe in a wave hitting a cliff. Maybe in the breath of someone who lived thousands of years ago. And for a moment, that idea doesn't feel creepy. It feels comforting, almost like you're connected to everything that ever existed. A soft hum rolls through the ship again. It doesn't sound like danger, more like the quiet vibration a giant cat would make if space cats were real. The lights dim a little, turning the room into a faint blue glow. And suddenly, water seems to shine even brighter in your mind, like it's trying to tell you something without words. Maybe that's why scientists say water is the best listener on Earth. Not because it has ears, but because it reacts to everything, to touch, to sound, to vibration, to temperature. It's sensitive, almost emotional in a way that science can measure, yet still can't fully explain. If you whisper near it, it changes. If you freeze it, it expands. If you heat it, it rises. It doesn't fight, it just adapts. And maybe that's the lesson hiding quietly inside all these facts. That flexibility is a kind of strength too. That softness can carry entire worlds. You shift slightly in your seat, not because you're uncomfortable, but because your body feels heavier, slower. That sleepy pull is settling into your shoulders, your eyelids, your breath. The kind of tired that feels good, like sinking into warm water after a long day. The ship gently glides past a cluster of icy particles, each one sparkling like tiny diamonds. They're drifting around you in slow motion, so slowly you could almost reach out and grab one. And inside them, frozen for millions of years, is water older than recorded history. Water that formed before humans existed, before cities, before stories. You stare at the floating crystals and think, maybe water is the universe's way of keeping time. Not with numbers or clocks, but with movement, with cycles, with the way it never disappears, it just changes shape. Another thought quietly slides into your mind. If you could follow a single drop of water across time, across planets, across galaxies, you'd probably discover a map no one has drawn yet. A map the universe wrote with oceans instead of ink. The ship rotates slowly, giving you a view of a moon covered in thick ice. The surface looks cracked like glass, glowing faintly blue beneath the fractures. Somewhere deep under that frozen shell is an ocean, darker than night, untouched for billions of years. Scientists believe it might be full of warm currents and hydrothermal vents, the kind that could support life. Tiny creatures drifting in the dark, surviving on minerals and heat instead of sunlight. You let that idea settle. Life, but not as we know it. Life that moves with the rhythm of the water around it. Life that doesn't need eyes, because it feels the world instead of seeing it. Life that isn't afraid of the dark, because it is the dark. And you can't help but smile a little at how peaceful that sounds. Your breathing slows even more. Deep, steady, like soft waves brushing a quiet shore. The ship drifts on. In the distance, a small blue star flickers, surrounded by a ring of shimmering dust. And somewhere in that dust, astronomers believe there are tiny frozen droplets, the building blocks of future oceans. Imagine that, a star creating the ingredients for lakes, rivers, rainstorms, on worlds that don't even exist yet. You stare at that faint glow and think, water isn't just something that is, it's something that becomes. There's something comforting in that idea. Something that makes your muscles loosen, your mind quiet down, your eyelids grow heavy. Because if water can travel so far, change so much, survive so many strange places, maybe you can too. The cabin temperature shifts a little warmer, as if the ship is tucking you in. A soft breeze, recycled air, but still somehow gentle, brushes across your face. You let your eyes drift halfway closed. Not all the way, just enough that the stars blur into soft white dots. Almost like underwater bubbles rising toward the surface. Your thoughts slow down too, not stopping, just stretching out, floating, drifting. Somewhere far away, a soft chime rings, the kind that sounds like a drop of water falling into a still pond. It echoes lightly through the cabin and fades into silence. And in that silence, you begin to realize something else. For all its power, water is patient. It doesn't rush. It doesn't shout. It takes its time carving canyons, smoothing stones, shaping coastlines. Sometimes it works quietly, sometimes violently, but always consistently. Maybe that's why listening to water makes humans feel calm, because it reminds us that not everything needs to be fast. Not everything needs to be solved today. Some things can just take their time. You take a slow breath, imagining a gentle wave rolling in and another rolling out, steady and calm. Everything feels softer now. Your thoughts, your body, even the air around you. The universe outside the window glows faintly, dotted with more stars than you could ever count. And somewhere out there, on millions of worlds you'll never see, water is doing exactly what it's doing here. Drifting, flowing, changing, waiting. It's almost funny, in a soft, sleepy way. You came here to learn 100 sleepy facts about water, but somewhere along the way, you started to feel them instead. And that's exactly where we'll continue.